Hey guys, welcome to Night Owls. Thank you for being with us, and hello, Sasha.
Hello.
It seems like it's been a while since we did the last Night Owls.
It has probably been
So
like a month, right?
I know. So Sasha just suggested that we should do one tonight. I'm like, yeah, let's do this. It'll be fun. So thank you guys for being here. We do these Night Owls. We don't have a set schedule yet. We probably will once Sasha moves in, but right now is kind of on an ad hoc basis. And if you're new to the show, welcome. We talk about whatever you want to do. And let me bring up the where they can submit their questions. There we go. Uh, we talk about movies, but also current events. There's a lot of wild stuff happening in the world today. And if you guys want to be part of the conversation, we have power chats right here below. Thank you for that. And YouTube has super chats, Rumble has rants, and Stream Element has a tip feature. We'd love to hear from you. And we're streaming on YouTube and on Rumble and on X. And always I ask people, if you're watching, go ahead and sub to us on YouTube and Rumble. And go ahead and join me on X. I do a lot of content on X, so I appreciate it. And if you haven't signed up for my Substack, that's where I do a lot of updates. I really do appreciate that. So that you'll see the link in the description where you can sign up for my Substack. So kind of my housekeeping stuff I've done. And Sasha, it's just been a really crazy time with Trump and everything else.
It has. It's crazy. It's
Oh,
his presidency has outweighed my expectations so far.
yeah, he's got the markets all askew because all the globalists like open trade, even though that
Hmm.
sucks jobs out of the country. So a lot of the markets are down, crypto's way down. And so we'll have to see. I think that will rebound, but it is amazing because he was very serious about the tariffs, and there are tariffs now on Mexico. And
Canada.
yeah, and all the stocks in the in are crashing, and so is crypto. Crypto's crashing pretty quick here. So we'll see if there's a rebound, but it's pretty crazy right now. So
So
uh,
why is it crashing? Because they are afraid jobs might come back. I don't understand.
well, a lot of people think that free trade helps the stock market, and because they can get products cheaper and sell them cheaper. Because if you have tariffs, what happens is it encourages production in your country. And so you can't get, so for example, if you have a tariff, let's say on Canadian goods, all the goods that come in from Canada will cost more now because Canada, the manufacturers have to pay a tax to the United States. So let's say if
Right.
I want to ship in maple syrup that you want to get at the store, and I'm a Canadian manufacturer, if there's no tariff, I just set the price, let's say, at $20. And let's say we have a 25% tariff. That means the government says, oh, okay, well, it's $20, but you got to pay us a tax of $5 for every maple syrup you come in. So a Canadian producer will pay the government $5 for that one bottle. And so then they're like, if you're in business, you have to cover your cost, right? So you're going to, instead of charging $20 for your bottle of maple syrup, you're going to have to charge your American customers $25. So things get more expensive that way. And what happens, that will hurt Canadian industry because people will just start buying, let's say if they make maple syrup from Vermont or something in America, people say, I'm not going to buy the Canadian maple syrup, I'm going to buy the American maple
Because it's
syrup.
cheaper.
It is. And then so what happens then, at least in theory, is there's a lot more demand for American products. So American businesses, they have to hire people, which helps the economy. People get jobs. Those people get jobs. They start paying payroll taxes, and that's how it works. And before the early part of the 20th century, the United States did not have tax, and how we funded the government. Of course, the government was a lot smaller, but how we funded it was strictly through tariffs. Because this is what Trump has talked about, a fundamental restructuring of everything. I think he's going bold compared to any other president. Maybe the closest president we've had to make so many bold changes was FDR, except he did it in a bad way. But
Right.
he's radically changing the government, what we do. And Trump, I've noticed, used to, when he would say crazy stuff, it's just Trump being Trump, saying silly things, trolling. But now people are finding out, oh my God, he's serious. And when he's talking about he would like to replace the income tax, I don't think he's trolling. I think he would really like to do it. And one of the ways, only way you could do that is by having tariffs, because at that point, all these other countries, in a sense, they're paying the taxes for us. And you could say, well, they just won't ship their product to the United States, but that's not feasible for most countries because we're the biggest market in the world. So if you're China, who you're going to send it to? Vietnam, Colombia? No, I mean, your biggest customer is the United States. So you got to suck up and pay the tariff. Or if you don't want to pay a tariff, you have to have your manufacturing within the United States, even though you own it. And so that's what Trump's trying to do.
So
So go ahead.
basically, sorry, the tariff used to be what we used to get revenue, and then they
Yes.
decided to do income taxes, which actually hurts the people, right? So income
Yes.
taxes came after when we used to use tariffs, because we used tariffs to, like you said, kind of found the country,
Yes, that's
right?
how we
Like early
funded it.
on,
Yeah.
right?
And is to be fair, when the income tax came in, I think it was under Wilson, they said, well, no, no, this is just like a 1% rate you have to pay, and it's only for the millionaires. And at that time, a millionaire back in the early 20th century would be almost equivalent to a billionaire now
Right.
because of the, so it was like the super rich back then only had to pay. But what happens, you get a tax in like that. Over the years, they started adding more and more people to almost everyone now, has to pay an income tax.
Well, I think everybody pretty much does.
Unless you make under certain months or you're on welfare or stuff like that. Because you'd be surprised, I was anyway, at least a few years ago, over half the people in the United States do not pay an income tax because they're either on welfare or, maybe their wives stay at home or they're retired. Or, there's a lot of people, there's less than half of the people in this country, or kids don't pay income tax, that pay an income tax. So it's only like 40% of Americans actually pay an income tax. And that's actually an interesting question for Grok AI. What percentage of Americans pay income tax? Because I love this AI. You can get these answers real quick. 60% pay federal income tax. So 40% of Americans do not pay any income tax.
Well,
But, there's kids, and you know what I mean? So it's, yeah, but still. So, yeah, that's how it used to be. But the market's sort of like what they call free trade because but I think it will rebound. And Trump said, well, there may be initial pain, but we got to do this. And the reason the tariffs, there's multiple reasons. Initially, it started because he wanted Canada and Mexico to better control their border for fentanyl and potential terrorists. I didn't realize there's a lot of parts of Canada they don't even check the border, and it's very loose. And
they were
so,
pretty lax back in the day.
yeah,
I went to Canada back in the late 90s, and well, now you have to have a passport to go there, but back when I went, you didn't even have to have a passport. You just had to like show your ID and they let you in. But I remember
yeah,
the American side of the border was a lot more strict, and they looked through under the hood and kind of
yeah,
peeked around at everything and asked a bunch of questions. The Canadians were just kind of like, have a good time, and they just let us drive right in, and it
yeah.
wasn't even an issue. They were a lot nicer than the Americans as far as crossing the border, but that's probably why they have the problems they do now.
Yeah, that is. So that was the original. Now there's a few problems with that. With Mexico, they don't really control the border. The cartels do. That's just, officially the government of Mexico controls the northern Mexico, but in reality they don't. They live in fear of the cartels. So that's a problem too. And Trump said he's going to send troops in and destroy the cartels.
Well, I mean,
Canada,
they should. I've never
yeah,
really understood that. We go to war in the Middle East and we go fighting all over the world, but when it comes to our own border and all this stuff happening there, like we have a military, it should be for the border here. It shouldn't be for the border in like Gaza or wherever,
Ukraine.
yeah, like why are we doing that?
Yeah, that is crazy. And speaking of Ukraine, and we'll get back on subject, but and we got a super chat already from Ryan. Thank you, Ryan. Did you see Zelensky said they lost like $100 billion? They don't know where it went
Well, yeah,
of
it's
our
probably in
tax
his
money.
pocket. Like,
How do you lose $100 billion?
because they stole it. They didn't lose
Oh,
shit.
maybe is that he's acting like he was sitting at the house and on the sofa and some of the change fell in the cushions. I don't know where it went. I lost $100 billion. That regime is
No.
so corrupt.
We should
And
have never given them any money. It's
yeah.
insane how much money we've gave them. It's so messed up.
And have you seen the scandal of this USAID department? They were supposed to be giving money to like HIV, food for poor people, but it was all a money laundering system for the Democrats where you would put money, taxpayer money in this, and they would fund NGOs to try to censor American speech, all this woke agenda, bringing in illegals. It was just crazy. Elon Musk is looking into this and they're shutting down that whole program. Total corruption, total massive corruption that they've exposed, and was called US Aid. And they had a good, oh, we're feeding poor little black children in Africa. But spoiler, they weren't. They're taking that money and doing nefarious things. It's
Well, isn't
just
that what the
incredible.
Clinton Foundation was pretty
They did a
much?
lot of that too, yeah. In
Like,
Haiti, yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
And Haiti's no better than it was. I mean, I don't think we should be giving them our money, but if you're promising people money and then you're stealing it and running all these scams, then you should go to jail.
Yeah. So this tariff thing is going to come because the markets are going to be really down tomorrow, and Trump is going to have the strength to weather it because I think they will come back up. What's going up high is gold, and the U.S. dollar is getting very strong, and the Canadian dollar is extremely weak, and so is the peso. So if you have U.S. dollars, people are
The
selling
peso.
stocks. Yes, they're selling stocks and they're selling crypto to getting dollars because dollars are worth more now
The
because
peso
this
has
is
always
strong.
been a joke.
It is,
Remember,
yeah.
like Ralph would be like flexing how he said he had like 300 pesos, and they looked it up and it was like $9 or something
Yeah.
like that. And they used to make that joke on Married with Children, where Peg was just like, I opened Al's wallet and there was this paycheck, Al Bundy, 80 pesos. So
Yeah,
everybody
I
knows
know.
that's a joke. So you say pesos are down, it's kind of like, what does that really mean?
Yeah, I got
You
a
know,
1,000 pesos, dude, gangsta. And it's like, how much is that worth? $8. Yeah,
I
it's kind
kind
of
of feel
crazy.
bad for the Canadians though, like the heritage Canadians, because we know a lot of Canadians and they're good people. I feel
No,
like
they
they just
really,
got kind of screwed because of their government.
yeah, the
I
government is
think
shit libs and it really screwed them. I really love Canadians. They're
I
the
do
people that
too.
watch us more. Besides the United States, my biggest viewers are Canadians. And I've always said this. I've never, for the longest time, it's almost like we don't consider. I mean, Canada's a foreign country, but it's in a special category.
Well,
They're
they're
kind of
like
like a
us.
cousin. They're kind
They
of like,
are
they're kind of like your in-laws or something. They're
right.
they're
Well,
kind of family, but not.
weren't they founded by basically Scots? Like
Well,
Gavin
yeah,
used to talk about
English.
that, and it's like
It
they're
was
kind of like
basic.
us,
Yeah,
really.
basically they were. The only twist is they had also, and especially Quebec, a lot of French, and so
Right.
in the
But
United States there were because we had that war with France, the French and Indian War that Thomas Jefferson, George Washington fought. He was actually a captain, I think it was in the British Army, or he was with the colonies, but he fought with the British to fight against the French. But there wasn't many French that settled in the West or what we call the Midwest. They had trappers and stuff, but there wasn't really that many. And but Canada there was in Quebec. That's why they still speak French in Montreal, and that's why they have everything in English and French.
yeah,
Uh,
I've been to
so,
Montreal back
but
in the day, and people probably get mad at me for saying this, but I liked it. I thought it
mhm.
was nice, and the people were friendly to me, like when I
Yeah,
was there. But that was back in the '90s. I'm sure it's a lot different than it was. But I
yeah.
enjoyed it.
Well, part of it
I
too,
thought it was kind of
though.
a pretty city.
Yeah, you were like a young single girl too. That probably helped, right?
Yeah, probably. But they were like French people are nice looking,
Yeah.
mostly. There's some that aren't, but I don't know. In some ways, I kind of like the French people, but
Yeah,
I
their
know a lot of
language
people.
is pretty. regular Canadians really don't like French, the
Oh, I
French
know.
Quebec.
I've heard
Hmm.
PPP talk about the.
Well, that is a thing that they're considered. They were always trying to be separatists. Even in the 70s, they came really close to separate from Canada. So this whole idea that Canada needs to stay together is not really. They've tried to split up too. Um, I don't, as I said before, I do not want Canada. I think Trump wants
Mhm.
Canada because I think it would be disaster because they have and again, there's a lot of good Canadians that watch my show and I really love them. They're great people. But they've had a huge problem with immigrants from India under Trudeau the last 8 years. And if you go to like Toronto, you don't even see many white people anymore. And they have they're a welfare state. And if we brought them in as a state,
Would hurt
that would
us.
be two Democrat senators more. But worse, it would be we based on electoral votes, based on how populous the state is, and it would be more populous than California. So it'd be like another California, that many electoral votes, and it would all go Democrat, which would mean the Republicans could never win again unless you did something like totally drastic. And even then, I don't know you could, but like if you just literally purged all the Indians and Muslims out of Canada when you brought them in, which I don't see that happening. But
They should
otherwise,
though.
yeah, but it's not going to happen. So
No, I
I
mean
don't want
we've got
Canada.
a problem here too. Let's be
It'd be a
real.
disaster. But yeah, speaking of the Canadian currency, there was a time it was almost a Canadian dollar. They call it, I believe, the loonie was equivalent to the U.S. dollar, and now it's like 1.5. So it means it's a dollar 50. A dollar will buy you like 1.5 Canadian dollars. So if you give them a U.S. dollar, they give you a dollar 50 cents Canadian back. So it's kind of weak to us too. And it's going down
Well, yeah,
too.
I remember when I went over there, they liked getting American money, even back in
Oh
the
yeah,
90s.
yeah.
Like our
When I
stuff
was
was
in
worth more.
the American dollar for as my whole lifetime has been the default currency everywhere,
Hmm.
and even in Hungary they would love to get American dollars. That's why you want to get a good rate though, so you'd have to exchange it to get a better rate. But yeah, they
Yeah.
almost everywhere would take an American dollar.
Man, I want to go on a vacation. All this talk about Europe and Canada. I
Hmm.
don't know. I want to go back to Europe. You're lucky you've actually got to go to a lot of it. I've only been two places,
I'd
but
be scared to go to England now because they said they're going to arrest people for expos, and I'd probably be arrested.
that's crazy. I've always wanted to go to England. I hate to
I
see
know
what's going on there.
it is really sad what's happening there.
That
So
seems like it's the place that's turning the worst out of the West, out of like all the
England,
places. Yeah, it just
yeah,
seems like every time I hear some horrible dystopian story, it's almost always England. It's worse than Canada. Like I hear people talk about Canada, but it sounds like that's the worst.
well, what happened in England? They've always had kind of a communist element with the Labour Party. They were very close to the Reds. A lot of them were. And what's happened, because they followed the lead of the United States, is economic communism sort of went out of vogue after 1989 when the Soviet Union fell. In the left, they took a weird turn into what we call wokeism, where it's not so much about economic models, let's get rid of private business and have the state run everything. Now it's we need to eliminate whiteness. We have to eliminate men and make men girls. And
But they were a
uh,
majority white country. That's what's so crazy about it.
I
Why would you
know
do that to yourself?
they just adopted all our worst characteristics, and now literally you have a situation. Say if you're Muslim, you stab someone in England. If you're in England, you complain about it, you're going to go to jail, not the
But I
Muslim.
feel like
This
it's
is
not the
crazy.
people. I feel like their government got hijacked because there's a lot of good
Hmm.
British people you see that even people I don't really like Piers Morgan, even he knows this shit's wrong.
Yeah,
And he's kind
I
of like an old school liberal, but it's like you have good English people like Mark Collette. There's a lot of these people
oh,
that
they
aren't
are,
down with
and
the shit that's
but
going
they've
on.
thrown a lot of people in prison just for their speech. And I think Trump should declare the government of England a terrorist organization because of throwing people in jail for speech, and we should capture their leadership and send them to Guantanamo Bay, put as terrorists. I really do. I mean, that's how we should
Hopefully,
respond
it
to
would
them.
fix
Yeah,
England. I'm hoping somehow they'll get fixed. Like
I
I
do
want it to
too.
go back
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
way that it used to be, or at least the way I've never been there, but before they started
Well,
arresting people for speech.
the British basically founded modern civilization as we know it, the Anglosphere, and it's sad what's happened.
It is because I
Ryan,
like British culture too.
Ryan, thank you, Ryan Leclerc. The left used to be anti-corporation and support local businesses and corporations. Classic left leaning blue collar positions. Now all of a sudden they're pro corporation and shipping jobs out of yeah, LOL. Yeah, that is something that in my lifetime I've seen dramatically is the left the labels have changed a lot. What used to be you consider classical liberals, the woke aren't liberals, really. They're not. They don't believe in free speech.
No.
The old liberals used to believe in free speech. Some say they went too far with pornography and all that, but they believed in like profanity. You should be able to say it. Whereas now they don't. Now they're censors. The modern woke, they're kind of like Stalinist, but not so much in the economic model, just trying to eliminate white people, pushing sexual perversions on children. They've just gone totally crazy, real radical feminism. Um, so, yeah, that has changed because a lot of the corporations could be changing out, but they follow the government. When the government went woke, all the major corporations like Google, Apple, old Twitter were happy to, support the woke model. I think that's kind of changing now with Trump. But you're right. I can remember when the left used to hate like the FBI, the CIA, big corporations. You used to get the myth was that the Republicans support the rich corporations and the Democrats for the working man. But Sasha, did you see some of those clips from the DNC? They're trying to elect the leadership and what a total fiasco it turned out to be.
I didn't see it, but I saw kind of a clip on X, but it was quiet. So I didn't really get to see like what it said, but I kind of know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I have the clip. Maybe I'll show it tomorrow. I won't necessarily show it now. It's a short clip, but they got into this big debate. Like, okay, when you vote, if people get 0 votes, they should be excluded for the next round. But then we got to gender balance it. And they all got into a big debate. What the hell does that mean? And what they meant is, if all the, if you're having an election, let's say the 6 lowest people, you just exclude, right? Because you
Right.
narrow it down. But they're like, oh, what if all 6 should happen to be
Men.
women? We can't do that. That's not gender balanced. And so they got into this real confused thing. And it looked like a parody or like a Saturday Night Live skit, but it was real. And because they don't even know what it means to be a man or a woman anyway, so it's really
No.
crazy. Let's see. Rawhouse has one. Is this what Ram views of Democrats now? And let me take a look at this here.
I don't know.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
Rawhouse gave a good. We can kind of talk about it. It's on subject,
All right.
really, what we're just talking about. We have no coherent message. Democrats struggle to oppose Trump, with more than 50 interviews with Democrat leaders revealed a party struggling to decide what it believes in, what issues to prioritize, and how to confront an aggressive right-wing administration. Yeah, that is true. They are going through a crisis of kind of like the old Democrats, the old liberals versus the new woke, and they're having a very difficult time of how do they go forward, because they've learned if they base their whole message as being anti-white and pro men that dress as women chasing girls around in the women's restroom,
Bathrooms.
that doesn't sell.
No.
But they have a real radical element in charge that's their core value. So they're having a kind of a civil war. There's some like Bernie wing Sanders, like, oh, we just got to get back to basic issues of, let's say, free health care, union
Economy.
jobs, that type of stuff.
Right. Like
But
it
you have
used to be.
Right, but you have this new, just batshit insane wing that, no, we're all about new genders and pronouns, and we need to push child
Gay
sex
stuff.
changes, and yeah, just crazy shit
Stuff
that
nobody cares about really, except a
Well,
very small
people
percentage
hate
of
it.
Population.
Of all races,
There's
the majority of people hate
a
it.
small segment of psychos that go along with all this stuff. But what I don't understand are the people that used to be like old school blue dog Democrat types. Like my grandfather was like that, I guess, and my grandmother was one where it's like, oh, we're for the working man, kind of like the Bernie Sanders wing. Why do those people vote for this new wing? Because I know people like this. They were Democrats because of the things they used to stand for, which weren't necessarily bad things. Because it was about stuff kind of like how Trump is like, hey, we should have jobs here and things like that. But why do they vote just because there's a D next to the name? Can they not see like your party's messed up now? Like, why are you
Well,
still
yeah,
voting for this shit? Because a few of them leave, but a lot of them still vote for the same crap. Because I know people like this, no matter what, just because there's a D by it. And they'll go along with all the crazy sex stuff and all the weird shit just because there's a D next
yeah.
to the
Well,
name.
I think that's changing though. A lot of those people have voted for Republican. I would throw out examples: Joe Rogan, Elon Musk. So a lot of people have
But there's still a
used
lot
to
of
be.
people
Oh no,
that,
no, there's no
yeah,
doubt. But I'm saying there's some categories. There's a category of people that have moved to the Republican Party, and this is not new.
I hate to
I'm a.
say it, a lot of it's women, like older
It
middle-aged
is.
and boomer, like because I do almost all the women I know are like this. Some lady came up to me, except for people I've met from the show. Maybe it's because I live in Fayetteville too. This lady came up to me at work and she was like, "Are you really happy with the election?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's fine." And she was like, "I don't know." And she's trying to talk politics. The woman had no clue about anything, just
Right.
Trump bad. That's like all they know really is Trump bad. And they can never argue what did he do really? Oh, he's a felon or he's a this. It's like I don't have time to deal with you guys because you don't
Yeah.
even know what the hell you're voting for, and you should. I think you should have to take a test maybe before you can vote, male or female. Because there's a lot of dumb guys that vote too, but not as much as women. But I think it's just because they go along like, oh, Trump's mean to people. Because that Brandon's mom's like that. Oh, he said mean things to women. So you would let the country fall into a pit of hell just because like he said something on a private tape? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I think it's more, I want to do the test thing because there's a lot of women that on tests they would score okay because they're credentialed. They always think they're very smart because they went to college. But
Oh, that's true.
women tend to be more conformist and they tend to react. Tend, not all. I think it's changing a little bit, but based on they're more susceptible to emotional manipulation. Although it's not really working this time, because you remember they already tried to throw out the brown crying baby, try to get that propaganda. Everyone just laughed at it.
But there are some that do still fall for that stuff. If you see any left, every once in a while, some lefty will show up in my X feed, and I'll look, and there will be a lot of people that are like, "Oh, this is wrong." And I saw something I got on a Reddit forum, and it was about the deportations. And these people are
Reddit.
so, yeah,
Yeah,
these people,
Reddit is, yeah, you got a problem there.
these people are so
Yeah.
stupid. They were talking about how that's why the price of eggs is up is because illegal. I was like, wait a minute. I looked it up, and the reason the price of eggs is up because there was a bird flu, and they called like I don't know how many thousands of
And that
birds.
was under Biden
It
anyway.
has
So,
nothing to do
yeah,
with Trump or deportations.
I
And
know.
my cousins who are white, they did that for years. They had an egg house because remember we worked
Oh, I
with
was in it. I
yeah.
was shocked because
So to act like this is
I
illegal aliens
know.
doing this, it's like what? Like a lot of white people around here have egg farms,
They
like
were
at
like,
least
yeah,
chicken
we
houses.
remember that she was like, yeah, we have chickens and eggs, and I was thinking a little chicken coop, and we went in there. I'm like, my God, it was like a whole barn, like it's almost as far as you could see, like thousands of chickens. Just
Yeah,
like
thousands.
it was crazy. And I asked her, oh, what's the name of this one? She thought it was kind of crazy. Yeah, but it was that is the case. But getting back to your hot white people, what they do, we have been through this before because I can remember when I was a kid, everyone in the South voted Democrat, and that went back to the Civil War because Lincoln was a Republican. But now the South is, at least with whites, is heavily Republican. So they made that switch. They migrated to the Republicans. And it really started with Nixon, the Southern strategy, but it continued with Reagan.
Mhm.
And now we're a very red state Republican when it used to be Democrat. That's how Jimmy Carter got elected. But that has changed now. Now, just like California is a one party state with the Democrats, Arkansas is a one party state with Republicans. We have a Republican governor, and our Congress is all Republican.
Well, the
So,
thing with the Democrats in the old days, they were a lot different because I was reading Rosalind Carter's book from the 80s,
yeah.
and she talked about Jimmy Carter, and it sounded like Trump, kind of. You know what I mean? It wasn't
Oh,
like, it
yeah.
was more
Well,
like normal, like they weren't crazy. Like this
no,
batch of people, they're nuts. Like, what's her
I
face? Kamala Harris. The bitch is crazy.
Yeah, I remember a day that Democrats used to be against gay marriage. Bill
Yeah.
Clinton was against it.
Well,
Obama was
Jimmy
against
Carter
it.
was against abortion
Yep.
because she talked about that in her book, how he was against it, and she was against it on a personal level, but she didn't want to make decisions for other people. But now it's like I don't think you could be pro-life on the Democrat ticket.
Well, they're going through a civil war of what they really are because they have become so radical and so extreme that I don't know they know really what they are now. Do they want to be the party of the working man, or do they want to be the party of the freaks, the sexual degenerates?
I think they got hijacked by the freaks.
Mhm.
Really.
They did. And by the way, that's a problem on both sides of the political spectrum. And that I would say is what happened with the alt-right. The alt-right started what we call the alt-right now, even though it's gone, is basically the basic GOP almost now, is really what they're doing. So the alt-right, it kind of it kind of imploded, but the ideas carried on and they're mainstream now. But remember the alt-right ended up with a bunch of freaks, like Richard Spencer had that guy, that Sol Invictus. Remember he changed his name?
Guy.
Yeah, he thought he was a Roman emperor and he gave decrees. I mean, total mental illness.
Yeah.
So
wasn't he married to a Mexican too?
Yeah, he was.
Because they're all about being white, but then none of them have white wives. I always think that's kind of odd.
But this is what we see on both sides: is people that get into this. There's a tendency to purity spiral into craziness that we've seen with Fuentes. He used to be normal. Now look where he is. And Richard Spencer used to be normal. Then he went crazy with the alt-right.
I think in Spain maybe too. Maybe
but you get what I'm saying. You get that on the left too.
Oh
right?
yeah,
You get that on the left.
They're all nuts. At least the people they trot out, even the celebrities that get out there and cry. I thought that Selena Gomez, I thought that was fake. That crying, I don't even believe. I think that was a bad acting job. I don't believe that was real. People are like, oh, she's crying. It's like it's fake. She doesn't give a shit.
Well, she made no argument. It was not like, why is it bad to deport illegal aliens? So, by the way, she called them her people. She didn't even fucking speak Spanish, right?
No,
and
she was raised by a white mother, I think I read.
Yeah, but she claims that these are my people. I'm like, you don't even speak their fucking language.
No.
And it is so cringy. And it's like, okay, but your people, you understand your people meaning in Mexico, they deport like Guatemalans. They don't tolerate illegals in Mexico.
No.
In most countries, they do not tolerate illegals because by definition, you're there illegally. Even though I'm a white guy, if I overstayed my visa in Hungary, they would have kicked me out. That's just how they do it.
Well, it's amazing how entitled these people act too. Like, oh, we have to leave. I've seen all these videos of these, like, I don't know if they're illegal or legal, but they have their Mexican flags out and they're all pissed off. Like, you're not entitled to get to come here.
Right. And if you love Mexico that much, and
then get the hell out.
Head back. I don't get it. So you say Mexico's so superior, then adios. No one's stopping you.
Why did they all come here? It's all about money. Like, it's all about money. Like, they don't care about being American. Maybe a few of them do. I'm sure there's a few that do, but it's like for the most part, a lot of them come here because their country is very dangerous.
Because it's full of it's run by their people. And this is the fundamental problem.
And we have wealth.
Our people are the only ones, and Asians too, that can create an advanced civilization. They want the advanced civilization because it's nicer to live there, but they feel a lot of envy because they know their people can't create that. And they do not want to go back to their people. Fuck, that's the worst horror they could imagine. It doesn't even make sense because they say we're all the evil white supremacists. I'm like, well, you seems like you'd want to go back to your homeland with your people. No, that's cruel. How dare you suggest I have to go back to my people? Oh, no. It's like, it's crazy, but this is how they are.
Well, then they're entitled to our stuff. And then these liberals act like, oh, we have to give them stuff because they're just not advanced enough. So it would be cruel to send them back to Mexico. But if it's so great, make your own shit.
Getting back to Selena Gomez, I want to finish this point, is she didn't make any argument why deporting illegals is bad, because her people, they do it. So why is it bad for our people to deport illegals? Her whole argument was just to cry. And it reminded me of that Simpson episode, like, your tears say more than any argument can. And so she blubbered for the camera. And you're right, it's probably fake because she had to set up the camera, put on the lights, the whole bit, And then you blubbering and crying does not mean we have to give up our civilization. Fuck you. No. That's not an argument. And she deleted the video because I think a lot of people felt the same way. That's not an argument, just boo-hooing about something. Look at my tears. That's why we should. That's why we should allow all these people in illegally. No, that's not a reason. Fuck off.
Why do we have to let any people in here?
We don't
I
now,
don't
by the way.
understand,
You
like,
don't. We
why.
don't. It's
And
it's
people get
over.
mad, like shitlibs get mad if you say that. I've said that before.
Mhm.
Like, we have too many people. Like, we're really full. The population of America is what, 300 million?
Something like
Plus
like three.
some?
Yeah,
That's
I'm
a
not
lot of
sure.
people.
Yeah,
And like, why do we need more and more people all the
we
time?
don't. We
Like, I
don't.
don't get
So
it. And we're not really bringing rocket scientists over here. If you were going to bring people over here that cured cancer and actually did great things, but just to pick vegetables or to mow someone's lawn, why we have people here that can do that. You just don't want to pay those people. I would come over and mow your damn lawn. Like,
mhm.
there are people that will do that if you want to pay them some real money, but people aren't going to do it for like, oh, $10.
Well, guess
You're out in the
who?
hot sun.
Well, we have 2 acres at the house. Guess who mows our lawn? I do. I don't
Yeah,
have
and so on at
Mexicans
my
doing it.
dad's. You or me mow that lawn too.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
I'm
no.
really a do-it-yourselfer type of person anyway. I think part of the reason Americans are so out of shape and
Yeah.
everything is because people don't do things on their own. Everybody wants like somebody to do it for them, and it's kind of feels good to go out and like wash your car or mow your lawn. Why do you have to pay people to do it?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know,
It's
I
it's
don't
just
understand.
ridiculous.
And it's like these rich people, they're the ones that cry a lot about this too. It's because they want slave labor. They get
Hmm.
cheap nannies, they get cheap whatever they need, housekeepers, landscapers. And so that's why they don't want to see those people go, because I'm sure they're nice to them. It's like, yeah, you're paying us money, but then they don't have to pay American workers.
Well, it used to be a progression that we've taken away. Like when I was young, and I know that was 200 years ago, but when people went to McDonald's, you saw a bunch of white teenagers. That was
Yeah,
when you had your
I
summer
was one of
job.
those white teenagers
Yeah,
that worked at
you had your
McDonald's.
summer job. I did it. I didn't work
Yeah.
McDonald's, but I worked at Garrison Street Station on Wadsworth and Garrison. It's no longer there. It was a Mexican restaurant. My first job at 15, I was a dishwasher. And
I
I
was a
was white.
dishwasher
I
too.
was white, as I am not. And so
Yeah.
I did that, white dishwasher. It happened. And that's what happened. You went to McDonald's, you saw a lot of white kids working. And that was a good summer job. It's a way to learn responsibility, how to work in the work environment. There's nothing wrong with that. And that's what we show. I don't want to see a bunch of adult Mexicans in there. Let's get our kids in there working.
Well, it's funny you said that because I'm thinking about my first two jobs in Fayetteville. I worked at a taco restaurant and I worked at Papa John's. It was all whites, both jobs, like doing
Yeah.
dishes and prep work, and we had a pretty reliable crew.
And and I will get back on this. I bet a lot of our people in our audience have had jobs like that. But I think it's good. I think a lot of white teenagers, instead of sitting around playing video games, I'm not trying to sound like a boomer, but they should work over the summer at these type of jobs. That's what should be done.
Well, it
Work
builds
is actually
character
good.
too,
It
really.
does.
And then you kind
And
of learn like what these poor people have to go through because service and custodial, because that's what I do. You can see like how thoughtless and what kind of shitbags people are. Whereas if you have to do it, it kind of makes you a little more cleaner and not try to
oh,
be like that guy that goes somewhere and just makes a huge mess and walks away. Like,
you
I
know,
don't know,
I
there's something about doing service work.
when I worked at Elitch Gardens, because I went to Green Mountain High School, was 95% white. You can look at my yearbook back then. As Sacha has,
I've
you
seen
saw it,
it.
right? Yeah, but it was right. It was
Mhm.
like 95%
Mine
white.
too.
And
And
then,
this was in the 90s.
and I worked at
Even.
Elish Gardens, and then when I saw some other people coming in, I didn't realize how stupid some people are. And I was like, I assumed everyone was like the people I hung around. It's not the case. There's some people I'm wondering, how the hell do they even function? How do they get home? They're really dumb. And it's an eye opener and to a lot of things. So I did that. Hey, we got us some more super
We have
chats.
a lot
So
of super chats. We haven't
yeah.
been reading them. I'm not sure. I'll let you figure it
Well,
out.
we're going to catch them all, guys. So
All
keep
right.
sending them in. So don't worry about it. But we were on the roll. Trump announced no more foreign aid to South Africa until they stop abusing farmers.
See,
Is
that's
he
awesome.
is he doing too much at once? Good evening. No, Trump is, God bless him. He's exceeded my wildest
Me
expectations.
too.
He's doing like a fantasy, like if I was like God Emperor. It was like incredible. And he's also tired of the whole fiasco in Europe, how they're always sucking off us taxpayer. He's threatening to put tariffs in Europe, and Zelensky, I lost all my money, $100 billion.
Whatever. His wife probably took it shopping. Remember when she took that money and spent what,
She
$1
spent $1
million
million in New York City
That's
shopping
when
for
we should have
jewelry.
cut the 8 off right then and there. Well, we should have never started.
We should have
it. If we were
arrested
gonna
that
cut it off,
bastard.
that was it.
That fucker better not fly away to Tel Aviv. We better put pressure on Israel,
will.
get his back ass so we can string him up if once
He
he's
probably
convicted.
will.
What a piece of shit. And the piece of shit people that were promoting this war was because of your tax dollars. Because USA, that's a government organization, these fuckers were saving your tax money to promote propaganda and bullshit. And fuck them all. They need to go to prison. You couldn't believe. I tweeted today, why in the fuck have I paid taxes my whole life when you have this slew of people that have been nothing but scam the system? That's all they've done with no consequences.
Well, they never go to jail.
No, if you spend more than 600 on eBay, they're going to check it out. But these assholes, they literally embezzle Zelensky $100 billion. And what the hell? You know, I mean, people need to go to jail, not just him, but the people that facilitated that.
So Biden's people.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And Trump has been really great. And I'm fine. I'm fine with the stock market going down if we can have our country back, and then we'll go back up.
Yeah, well, I mean, it goes up and down anyway.
Well, there's always one of the things how you can really get rich on is playing against overreactions.
Yeah, like
because everyone like sells, and if you're the smart one that buys at the time, you can make money. And then when it goes super high, if you're the smart one that sells when everyone else thinks it's going to go up forever, that's hard to do. It's hard to do that because people want to. Well, I have, but I mean, it's tough because you don't know, is it still going to go up? You don't want to sell too early, and so it will. But I want my country back, and God bless Trump on that. We got another one. My favorite duo in living color. Thank you. Yeah, I think we make a good team. Rams, do you believe that Nick Fuentes is FBI informant? Best wishes for you both. I don't know. I mean, I don't know for sure. I just think it was really strange when they really cracked down on so many people that were not even like the Proud Guys boy's head. He wasn't even there, but they arrested him.
Tario Enrique.
Yeah, because they said he agitated the dawn, which I don't think he did. Whereas we have video of Fuentes saying, ignore the police, ignore the barriers, go in there. And he never got arrested. And the FBI, they were investigating him, and all of a sudden it just suspiciously dropped. That's just suspicious.
Yeah,
I would love to see Trump just to reveal all the undercover informants that are out there, confidential informants.
They probably aren't allowed to, though, do you think?
Well, the president technically could, but he will get a lot of pushback because my understanding, I'm not a confidential informant, but ones that are confidential informants, they basically get a deal that, hey, if you work for us, we promise to keep you anonymous. We'll never reveal you.
Because some of those people have to go up against like really dangerous criminals, and if you found out somebody snitched on you or did that, it might not end well for you. So that's probably why.
Going against white nationalists isn't that dangerous because
what's he gonna do?
Yeah, but going against like let's say drug cartels.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. People like that.
Yeah, that would be very dangerous. So I don't know. I just find it very suspicious, and he's done things that have been very
like going against Trump recently.
Yeah, he was. Remember, he
kicking ass.
The Groypers, they sent their people to Michigan to try to stop the Muslims. We forget this from voting for Trump because he wanted to swing that because he didn't like J.D. Vance because he wore eyeliner. Meanwhile,
and he said he voted for Kamala.
Yeah,
they played that on Kino Casino, and it's like
he
voted against Trump. Maybe he didn't vote for her, but I want to say he did. Like it seemed like he was campaigning for her anyway, because he was, she's a brat like me and all that stuff, which is cringy anyway. Come on.
Yeah, he said that. Right? She's brat. She's a hot mess's bitch, and I'm like a hot mess's bitch. I mean, this. I don't know any straight guy that would ever say that, but that's where he is. Let's see here. But he's gone down the road. It's sad because he had a lot of potential. I think he's really upset because if he just kept on the straight and narrow, no pun intended, I think he could be having a big influence in the Trump administration. Now, remember when the APAC first started in America First? Mm-hmm. If he just followed his own rules and worried about optics and didn't get into crazy shit, don't get in with Kanye and loving Hitler and wearing a Gimp mask and
Well,
hating
speaking of
women.
Kanye, did you see his wife and him went to some awards show? And his
Yeah,
wife was wearing like this leotard where you could see her like tits, and
yeah, I
it
don't
was
care.
so
I saw that.
gross.
Yeah,
When Broderick like tweeted, I was like, "What is this? This is gross."
I
But people,
know.
what are they thinking? Like, it's boy mental illness.
Well,
Why
I
would
was
you go to an
telling
award show like that? Like, you have money, you could buy like a really cool outfit, and you're going, and it's just gross and tacky.
I was talking to our friend. She goes by the name Olga in Canada, and she laughed because she said she laughed when I said on my show. It's like I don't, obviously I'm a straight man. I don't mind sexy women, but I do not want to see in my Twitter feed some whore with her pants off. Put your fucking pants
Well,
on,
that's not
right?
even sexy. That's just gross.
It is.
No, it's
Do you think I could be your girlfriend? And she's shoving her ass in front of the camera. I'm like, no, fuck no. Get your goddamn pants on.
there's a lot of that now, and I get messages because I open my DMs up on
Yeah.
X, and I get like all these messages of like hoes and like people trying to get me to buy gold and all this. There's a lot of spam on X these days.
You got to be
Because I never
careful.
used to get
Yeah,
that
there's all
stuff.
sorts of scammers, a lot of them Indians. And I got one today, Sasha, just to warn you, but I know you didn't fall for it. Because we travel a lot, and I got a text. Oh shoot, I deleted it. But it says, oh, you have a toll due. Be sure to pay at this link, otherwise your license will be revoked. I'm like, what? I thought I'm up to speed on my tolls. And then I looked online and it was a phishing link. It was like Indians do it. It's a
Oh,
scam
yeah.
or so you got to be careful, guys. You got to watch out for the Indian scammers that shin this bullshit. But yeah. All right. Arthur, my favorite duo in living. Oh yeah. We already did that one. Sorry about that. Okay, Jay. I don't think I see the Democrats coming back. They are notably worth. Let me read this again. I don't see the Democrats coming back. They have nobody with running that they used to be anti-war and not anymore. Every party can come back. I'm not writing them off, and there's a lot of shitlibs in this country. They just got to decide. I've always said that if they would have put a nominee against Donald Trump, like Josh Shapiro may have won. If they had someone a little bit more sane, I think they may have won. But they decided to go with a DEI pick. So, but yeah, you're right. They're determinate. They're in a battle now between the crazies and the somewhat less crazies. You there, Seth? I saw you
Yeah, I'm
moving
here.
around. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
All right. Next one. Thank you, Agent 009. Scots Irish fight like no others. Kick ass. I find out, amigo. Yeah, Sasha, you're right. The Scots Irish are a lot of fighters. I know where you were raised. That's definitely the
Well, they
case.
pretty much founded America.
Yeah. Let's see. They
And the
don't come
British.
here to make the country better. They come here to take advantage of it. They don't care about assimilation and wave their flag approves it. And that's right. They're really bad optics. You see those Mexicans storm the highway in California.
Yeah, I
waving
was
the
talking
Mexican
about that
flag.
earlier.
Yeah, that was in California. They should
Yep.
send them all back.
They should.
If
Yeah,
they
if you
had
got a
any
Mexican flag on you, you're out of here.
if they had any sense, they would protest peacefully with American flags and say, "We're Americans. What are you talking about? We're just
But
like
they
you."
don't. They have an allegiance
No,
to their
they
own.
just prove our point. But they're kind of dumb. That's
They are-
the
yeah,
IQ
those-
issue.
yeah.
So that definitely is the case.
And once again, why do we have to let you stay here? If we try to go to your home country, they'd be like, no, you can't just stay here forever.
Yeah. Louis Barrow, Power Chat. How would it be if all the whites stayed in Europe and never colonized other places? Uh,
That's
how
a
would
good
it be?
question.
The other places would still be. It's a strange what if question that wouldn't have happened because there would always be like the people, the Christians and the missionaries. Look at these poor souls, how savage and primitive they are. They're eating each other. They're dying so young. We need to go over and help them. So that would have happened anyway.
But we might have been better off too, because we wouldn't have got in all these.
Yeah, I agree with
messes.
not Star Trek's. What was it? The Prime Directive: don't get involved with inferior
I never watched Star
civilization.
Trek, but I have heard you
Yeah,
talk about the Prime
yeah,
Directive.
we shouldn't get involved with primitive societies. Let them be. There's this like island near India, they're like in a Stone Age time, and we have a world that don't interfere with them. That's the way it should be with Africa and other places. Just let them do their thing, and if they starve, they starve. They got to figure it out. We can't do this aid to Africa and everything else. It's just
No.
wiping
Well,
us
we
out.
shouldn't have to. They're basically stealing money from like the taxpayer and saying you have to send it over. Now, if you want to do that on your own, if you want to help charities on your own, I'm not against charities, but why should you take somebody's money and force them
No,
to give to
I
these other countries when there's people struggling here in the States? That doesn't make sense.
right, and nature kind of deals with this. I don't want to be cruel, but it does. And if they can't figure out on their own how to, that's how nature took care. If they had 2 kids, nature would wipe out most of them. They got to figure that out on their own. After all, didn't they have Wakanda? So they can figure that out without us. Another super chat in 6768. Oh, wow. That is an old timer. 6768. In 68, I was in kindergarten. I worked at a McDonald's in Wheat Ridge, Colorado, 38th and Wadsworth. Sacha, yeah, we've been near there. You remember Wadsworth? That's the street where that baker's at. You remember
Yeah.
that Masterpiece Cake?
Yes, they have a
If
good
you,
toy store over there
yeah,
too.
you have to go way north, but if you go north on Wadsworth, there's 38th, because after 6th Avenue, all the numbers. I know exactly where that is. That's not too far from Elitch's, David, because Elitch's was on 38th and Federal. So if you went
That's where
on
you worked, right?
as in high school,
Elitch's.
yeah. It was an amusement park, but it was east of Wadsworth Federal. Yeah, I know where that is exactly. All white male crew, French fries made from scratch, on site, and not from frozen. Wow.
Well, ours were frozen when I worked at
Yeah.
McDonald's. They'd already graduated to that.
Well, I'm old enough to remember the super old McDonald's, and times have changed a lot. And a lot of things we don't really understand. We're really, in some ways, we have more economic problems, but in other ways, we're, in a sense, richer. Because when I was a kid, we didn't eat out that much. That was unusual. Some people eat out all the time. That used to be just a rare treat. And McDonald's, they didn't have a sit-down restaurant. They just had the arches, and you came up and got your food and went, hamburger and fries. So it's really changed. I think it was in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s, they started the sit-down restaurants, that they have now. So yeah, that
those
is
didn't start till the 70s and 80s.
I don't think so. No, yeah, because I remember when they came in, it was a big to do. It just seemed kind of strange then. So yeah, it has had happened quite a bit. That changed. So yeah, I think we're caught up on all the super chats, but guys, keep them coming in. We'll answer them. Yeah, so I do think it's Trump is doing a good job, and he a lot of stuff that's going through Fast and Furious, that is for sure. And we will see what happens with all that.
At least you can say this about Trump: he doesn't drag his feet. Like, he got in there and right away he started doing stuff, where it seems like sometimes people get in and nothing, they don't try to change anything or really do anything.
Yeah, he's
Like
a different person.
Just kind of wrecked everything.
Yeah, he's a different person than he was
In 2016.
Oh, huge super chat. Look at
Wow.
this. $100. Thank you, Agent 009. Sacha, please sing a song. Are you better off? Is the next thing below you? My money is. What'd you say?
Oh, I was reading it. Is such a thing below you?
No, not. She's not singing for $100. Is not below you, is it, Sacha?
Do what now?
He's asking you to sing a song. He gave you $100.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I've got a cold, but I guess I can sing something. Like what right this second?
Yes.
Tell me, sing something. And I am sick, so it's probably not going to sound that great.
I don't know. What song do you want to sing here?
I don't know. That's why I ask you. Let me think of something.
Prince, David Bowie,
me.
Bon Jovi.
Everything she wants is everything she sees.
Who's this?
I must have loved you. George Michael.
Oh, really?
Because you said you were the perfect girl for me. Oh, do 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 da 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 da.
Oh, I recognize that song. Yeah, that's right.
You tell me, whoa, whoa.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
For Thank you. Yeah, I've got a cold though, so I don't sound that great.
Yeah, no, you sounded good. You sounded better than I do. Yeah, George Michael. I heard a rumor
I
he
love
was
George
gay. I
Michael.
heard a rumor he was gay. Is that you think
He
was
was
true?
gay, and it's so funny that really hurt his career because all these girls had crushes on them, and my cousin had his tape, and I
Mm-hmm.
was in like junior high when he came out of the closet or was outed or whatever happened. And I remember he's like, I don't want this anymore, and he gave it to me because he was a straight guy that wasn't going to listen to a gay guy anymore. And then I had a friend also, he didn't know Boy George was gay. And Moss,
Yeah.
Boy George is gay. And he had a Culture Club tape. And he's like, oh, I don't really want this then. And he gave his tape to Mosca. So it kind of hurt their careers when they came out because a lot of guys.
Well, a lot of guys didn't. I remember Culture Club came out in the early 80s. I knew a guy that said, no, he's not gay. Because back then it wasn't like everyone was gay. It wasn't a great thing
Right.
to
It was
be.
kind of nice back then.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you could be gay and do your thing, but you didn't shove it in everyone's faces like that's your identity. Like these people do it now, like that's their only identity is that they sleep with men or
Yeah.
whatever. It's like we didn't know about George Michael until what, the early 90s?
Did he die
I
of
mean,
AIDS or cocaine?
no, he had a heart attack, I believe. He
Oh,
had heart
cocaine?
problems. Yeah, it was sad. They said he was actually a really nice guy. He gave a lot of money to charity and he wouldn't use his name. He would kind of
Mm-hmm.
do it anonymously. And I don't know. I always liked George Michael. I thought it was sad that he died so young. I think he was in his 50s.
He was with
Obviously,
Wham,
like
right?
54. Yeah. The other
Yeah.
guy was not gay. Andrew Ridgely.
Oh, he had non-gay people in his band.
Yeah, the other guy in his band was not gay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, George Michael was 53 when he died. He was born in 63.
That's when I was born.
Yeah, his birthday is not far from yours, June 25th.
Oh, wow. I was
He
born.
was born East Finchley, London.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I was born June 7th. So we were the same, almost the same time. Excellent. So thank you for the
That's
song,
cool.
Sasha. You sounded good. And by the way, 009, thank you. That's a very generous
Yeah, thank
donation.
you.
Look at that. It's like a bright red, too, when they do that. That's
It
pretty cool.
is.
Donald Joy, aren't they waving Mexican flags because they claim this land is actually Mexico? Aztlan makes much more sense than saying they prefer Mexico. Uh
I've
yeah,
heard
but
that.
but it isn't anymore. It never, this area was actually Spain, not Mexico. And Spain was European. It's kind of ironic because they're speaking a European language, right? So maybe they should get that language out of their mouths
So
and
what
speak
language did they speak before Spain
just some
colonized?
indigenous Indian language or something, yeah.
Yeah, and
So
it's
yeah.
funny, I was talking about how there's some things I like that are like Mexican, and then you were like, well, that's Spanish, like the pretty dresses they wear and stuff. You're like, no, those are actually Spanish. So all the
Yeah.
good shit that they have actually came from Europe as well, or at least a
Yeah.
lot of it.
Yeah, it
And I
did.
don't know, their food's okay, but everybody acts like it's the best food ever. I kind of agree with Gavin McInnes. It's like slop. Remember, he
Yeah.
said a lot of it is like the beans are runny. I mean, you can have good Mexican food, don't get me wrong, but it's not as great as everybody makes it out to be. I almost feel like Americans take the food from other countries and make it even better.
We do, and some stuff like the margarita, the Mexicans didn't invent. It was an American down in Acapulco, and he named it after his girlfriend or his wife. I think his girlfriend. He invented the drink. It was a white guy, so a lot of this stuff is all fake anyway.
Yeah, because I've
Uh,
been to Italy, and I didn't think the pizza there was as good as a lot of the pizza
no,
I got
yeah,
in America.
yeah,
Like, I don't, it
exactly,
wasn't bad. It was different, but it was just like, I don't know. I think Americans take stuff and they make it better.
yeah. And what's interesting, it's not like Trump is deporting citizens that are Mexican nationality. He's just deporting the illegals. And people need to remember that.
Yeah.
Let's see. The Arabs would have taken over the world, God forbid. Yeah, Charles Martel prevented that. So thank you. The Europeans fought against that.
Yeah.
If whites hadn't colonized the world, Arabs would have taken over and they would have been more expansionist than Europeans by far. Yeah. Um, yeah, people had the way they look at things were totally different then. So it's,
Well, they're kind of taking over parts of Europe now.
oh
If
yeah,
Europe
Islam, yeah.
doesn't stop it and stop
Yeah,
importing those
definitely.
people,
Yeah.
ran any of the countries over there, be like, we're not taking anymore. But I guess because of the
I
European Union, they have to. I don't understand why they can't just say no. Because remember, they
well,
don't like Hungary because he doesn't want all those people in
no,
there.
he didn't allow any of the immigrants and the refugees. Good for Orban. And by the way, our tax money went to try to overthrow him with the U.S. aid. But yeah, no, I agree 100%. My hope is Trump will, because Europe and the West tends to follow America, and I hope they follow what Trump is doing. It'll be painful, but I hope it does happen. And that other countries like AFD and Germany make Germany for the German people again, deport people that aren't Germans.
I hope
And
so. I
and
want to see these
Canada
countries
should
go
be for
back
the
to
Canadian people. They
they
shouldn't be.
should.
They don't. They
We,
shouldn't import millions of Indians or Chinese. They need to be deported or pushed out. And hopefully that will happen. It can happen if we dream it. It can happen.
yeah, get the Indians out of Canada. We don't need all of them.
They have a great society in India they can go to. Why not, right?
They
And
do.
it's wish them well, but
Boy, Vivek, speaking of Indians that everybody's turned against and hates, and he hasn't got the memo yet, I guess, that nobody wants him to run because he's supposed to be running for what, governor? Is that what I heard?
oh, of
Or
Ohio, yes, huh?
yeah, and it's like I don't think he would win at this point because he pissed too many people off. And Ohio
Yeah,
is
he
still kind
did.
of like the heartland. I mean, I think Ohio's
Yeah,
got a lot of
I
just like
was
working
always
class people.
Vivek was always pretty. Remember, I always liked him. He's pretty
I did
based. The
too at
stuff he
first,
says.
but I think he's
It's
a con man.
well, I think
Like I
he's
don't trust him at all.
yeah. But he did hurt himself there definitely, and
Well, he keeps
supposedly,
comparing us to all these other countries, like, oh, America's doing poor and this and this and this. And it's like, well, if America sucks so bad, asshole, why don't you just take your ass back to India and go there and get the test scores up in your schools? Why are you here bitching? And he was
well,
an anchor
that's the
baby
thing
from
they
what I
never
understand.
explain. If they're so smart in India, why is it a shithole? Literally, shit everywhere. Why is
Yeah,
that? It
yeah.
doesn't. Why do you need to come here? Is and all these people. That's always a very difficult question for them. If white people are so evil and hold you down, it seems like you want to be around us. You want to be in your countries
No, he
doing the
just
right
wanted
things.
to rip off people with his Alzheimer's medicine scam. Like that's why he's and his family are in America is to get our things and get make his riches here, his fortune here, because he doesn't give a shit about him. I don't think. I think he played everybody, and then he showed his true colors on Christmas, and he's continued to do that. And just instead of saying, "Hey, sorry guys, I didn't mean to insult you," he did. I want to say doubles down on it, kind of like, "Oh, China, they graduate more STEM people than us," and a lot of people in the comments were like, "Yeah, maybe people aren't getting into STEM anymore because Indians have kind of replaced people." And I don't know. It's like, well, America was a lot better off till all you guys kind of came here, and that's when it seemed like the test scores started to go down. But there's no talk of that.
Hey, we got a power chat. Don Bass. Hi, Rebel and Sasha. Yeah, Rebel's a name I'm trying to get away from, but everyone calls me Rebel because I'm such a
All
badass.
right.
Is that don't they all call me that around here, Rebel?
No, you call yourself that.
Because I have the Rebel flag flying, so I don't know. What can I do? Yeah, I troll a lot, but that's funny.
You
A
do.
beer bottle can be broken over someone's head. Party Boy smashed one over Stephen O's head. It's on YouTube. It's difficult. Maybe it can. It's very difficult. In
Maybe some
Hollywood, they
paint
use
glass.
special glass that's fake, to do that. Um, but yeah, because that was, remember that hoax in the University of Virginia where she says she was raped by those fraternity boys on glass for hours. Remember that? And the Rolling Stone did.
Oh yeah, that she came out recently and said that she lied and
Well,
she asked
yeah,
for
yeah.
forgiveness, which I mean
Rolling Stone was sued because
they
they
were
was all
and they
lies. Yeah.
lost. Yeah.
And I knew it was a lie anyway because she supposedly was gang raped on glass and had no scratches or anything. And they busted a beer bottle over her head. And I'm like, well, that would have given you. First of all, beer bottles don't bust that easy. Maybe it's possible. It's very difficult over a skull. And I did an experiment with it. It broke the skull. But yeah, I had a fake skull. But yeah, maybe it can, but it's very difficult. So that's how I knew the story was bullshit. Most of these stories are bullshit. You can tell real quickly of how that happened. So, well, getting back to taking over the world and stuff, I don't think I think Trump is trying to take the paradigm of kind of the manifest destiny. Manifest destiny, if you guys don't know what that was in the 19th century that God had manifested that we were going to take over the whole continent, at least from the Atlantic to the Pacific. That was our God's plan for us. And I think he has the same vision that God has a plan for us to have Greenland, all of North America, and eventually Mars. You can laugh about that, and I don't agree with that. Again, I said I don't want Canada because of the issues there, but I think Trump really believes that.
Yeah, I think we should just focus on America right now before you want to expand.
The idea was that Canada will cave because of the tariffs and become part of the United States.
I don't
When I
think
was
that's a good idea.
Olga, when I was talking to her, she's a Canadian. She thinks they will cave and become part of the United States. I hope not. I don't. There's good Canadians, but it would give us a lot of problems if that
The
happens.
only thing that would be positive for us is we could go up there without a passport if that happened. Because
Yeah.
other than that, I don't see the benefit of us being part of Canada.
Well, and then we'd have to get rid of this bullshit, translate everything in French. Like, no, we're not doing that, homie. So just learn English. And they got to learn how to say about. It's about. It's not a boot. It's about. Right. Yeah.
Or sorry.
It's process, not process. So see that, yeah, they got to learn how to speak the language.
I don't always kind of like that about Canadians.
No,
They always kind of joke on South Park.
I'm just teasing about that.
And when I was over there, what did it say? Y'all all the time.
Yeah. Oh, and also we're going back to the English system. So get rid of your gay metric system. That's going. So
yeah, I don't feel like learning the metric system.
No, we're not doing Celsius anymore. We do Fahrenheit, and when we get wood, it's 2x4. So you gotta, no, we ain't doing that. That's all changing. It'd be a lot.
I do like their flag, though. I'm going to say something controversial. I actually like their flag more than ours.
I like the Confederate battle flag.
Cool, but I think the Union Jack is my favorite flag.
That's a cool one.
What's your favorite flag?
Do you like the Confederate battle flag? I like it.
Yeah, I like it.
You made a cake once of it. That was pretty cool.
The Union Jack is probably my favorite. I used to have one in high school that I hung up on the wall. It was kind of neat.
Yeah, I had that. Flag. You remember the Canadian flag, the original one? That was kind of part of, that's kind of cool too.
Canadian flag.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something we could do sometime. We could rank all the flags. Canadian flag, original. Let's see here. Is that the one with the 3 leaves that you like?
I don't know. It just.
Oh, my computer's really slow.
Here we go. They used to burn their wives alive in India before the British came there. Yeah, that's the thing. The British, when they colonized countries, they didn't wipe out the countries. They allowed you to have self-government, but they did civilize them a little bit. They didn't allow you to do barbaric practices. In India, they used to burn their wives alive when their husbands died.
That's messed up.
I don't know. There's some merit to it. That way they don't kill their husbands. I know.
Why would they do that?
I don't know. I guess it prevents women from killing their husbands, right? Your husband dies. I know. But they throw them in the funeral pyre. Literally. They'd have throw them in the big bonfire, burn them up. And the British said, no, we're not doing that anymore. The British were one of the leaders, to eliminate slavery. They really were. So
yeah.
Were
they the first to eliminate slavery?
I think so. Yeah, they did. And they were anti-slavers, yeah. And so Brits don't have to apologize for anything. You guys, as Elon said something that was real radical, he told Germans they don't need to apologize for being German anymore. And the usual suspects, oh, lame! Why must we suffer?
Who said that?
Elon Musk. He said, Germans, you stop being sorry for being German. And it's okay to be German. Oh, no, it's not okay to be German. You must die. And no, fuck you. We can be ourselves. So, and I think that's a message that's resonating with people. So I think that is really good. So, yeah.
Okay, so is this the flag you like right here? That's pretty.
Let me see here. I'll image. Yeah, I had the one in the upper corner. Yeah, that's the one I had. Yeah, someone sent me that.
I like this. There's this picture is pretty.
Yeah.
It's old fashioned. And then there's this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this one.
Yeah, that's the one
And
I
I
have.
like, yeah, and I like this one too.
Yeah.
And then there's this one. How many freaking flags do they
I
have?
don't know. Do they still
Lord.
have the maple leaf, or have they gone to the homosexual flag? I don't know.
I don't know that they have pretty flags. Uh,
I think the homosexual flag got really ugly because they kept adding colors to it. It's just gross.
it is. At least when it was a rainbow, it was pretty. Now it's just. I hate how
So
they took the rainbow away.
I
Whenever you have
know.
anything rainbow, people come up to you because my hat people have, and it's like, no, I just needed a hat to keep the sun out of my eyes.
Yeah.
And it's good. I know rainbows are pretty.
Well,
I used to like rainbows when I was a kid. Rainbows didn't mean gay back then, or at least if they did,
I
we didn't
know,
know.
and I would think you'd have to hate if you're black because they put black on the flag because they
They
put
do.
homosexuals, and then all blacks too. You guys are one of us. Are like, what? What are you talking
Yeah.
about, white boy?
And most blacks aren't even like down with
I
all
know. It's
that.
like, yeah, yeah, we're gonna
That's why
put you
they
on
call
here.
it the down low because they're not exactly proud of it.
Weren't they trying to add like a pedo color on there too or
Probably.
something?
What's it called? Maps.
Yeah, minor
Minor
attracted.
attracted
Yeah,
persons.
yeah, that was pretty crazy, man. So yeah, that was outrageous. So uh, yeah, that was the thing. Hey, speaking of woke stuff, and as a kid, I used to always love. It's kind of cheesy, but I used to always love to watch the TV program called Little House on the Prairie with Michael Landon.
Me too.
It
You
was
know I
just so
love Little
sweet.
House.
And I read the original books, and
Me too.
Laura Ingalls was a real woman. She grew up,
We
and she
went to
wrote
her
about her.
house.
Yeah, she wrote about her experiences on the prairie and how the Indians, scared them and everything. And Indians
Yeah.
were very cruel back then. But I guess Netflix is buying, they're doing a reboot, and they said they're going to try to make it more good for quote modern audiences. So I don't
What
know
does
if they're
that
going to,
mean? More for brown audiences or
yeah, I don't
something?
know if they're going to make Paul black. And I
They
imagine
probably
they're,
will. You'll be
no, they probably won't do. Well,
non-binary or
and
something.
all, yeah, we joke about probably what they will do. They'll make girl bosses, right?
Oh, I'm
So
sure.
Ma and all them will be the girl bosses. They'll be the ones that really run things, and the Indians will be the poor victims. Even though it's so funny because Netflix said, "Oh, there was a lot of inaccuracies in the original Little House on the Prairie about Indians, and it would really hurt Indians' feelings." Oh, fuck it, it doesn't. Like, does my feelings hurt about what the Scots did or the Vikings? No one gives a shit. But that's a bullshit thing.
No.
I'm like, why are you saying it's inaccurate? The lady that was actually there, or that actually was an eyewitness, wrote about it. Who
Right.
the fuck are you to say it was inaccurate?
Well, they don't
Uh,
like what the reality was, Paul, so they have to pretend it didn't exist and they have to change it
yeah,
to some woke shit. It's
yeah,
called rewriting history.
yeah. I know. It's just really
And it's
crazy.
gonna
So,
fail. It's gonna suck. No one's gonna watch it. They had that show that came out in I think 2017, that Anne with an E, and that was about Anne of Green Gables. And those are great books. And then I didn't watch the show, and the reason I didn't watch it was because supposedly she got sexually molested or something happened to her because she was an orphan and went to live with this older couple because that's what the books were. There was no sexual stuff in the books at all. It was just about this nice community in Canada, Prince Edward Island, and just about the things, just about Anne and her family. And they're really good. And then they had to make it like that. And it's like, no, nobody wants to see this. We want to see, can we not have something that's wholesome? Like it seems like if you were wanting to watch TV or watch videos or anything with your grandparents or your parents, it would be hard to find anything wholesome anymore. Because even like Anne of Green Gables had to have a molestation story or something like that. And it's like, no, we just want to see the way the books were. And I'm sure Little House will be the same way. It's going to
yeah,
be just something gross, and they're going to get probably a mixed race couple. I mean, it's going to be stuff that's just not, that wouldn't have happened in a million years back.
no, and they
When it
will. I guarantee
was,
you, they'll drop the Christianity part, and the shitlibs may hate it, but the people that founded America, especially in Little House on Prairie, the Bible was very important to these people. They read the Bible. That's how they
mhm.
learned how to read. The Bible was taught in school. They were Christians. And if you read the little original series that was written by her, it was heavily Christian themes. And they're going to pull that out. They're going to make Ma and Laura, they're going to do the girl boss theme. They're going to do the old poor Indians theme. And
Yeah.
they'll probably
Somebody will
have,
be a homosexual, maybe the
they
neighbor.
will. it
What
could
was the
be.
neighbor's name? The one that helped him build the well and everything when
Yeah.
they first moved there? The Scotch guy. He was supposed to be Scots.
Do you think Paul will be fucking him? That'd be gross. But yeah,
I
no,
wouldn't
I
be
don't.
surprised. These people are such perverts. And can we not have any new ideas? Like I was listening to Kino Casino and they were talking about Disney and how all the stuff Disney does now is just shit. And it's pretty much true. And even Inside Out 2, I know it was Pixar. It wasn't that great. It was like okay, but it was almost a rehash of the first one. And then you think of stuff Disney used to do like Snow White and Fantasia were just beautiful art and the people really were talented. Now they would just be like AI, make us a movie about Snow White or whatever. I mean, it just looks horrible, that Snow White movie.
Oh, where they have the
And I
Mexican?
and I hope it fails, but they were saying the Little Mermaid actually made decent chunk of money, and it's like, who the hell went to see that? Maybe black people
Yeah.
went to see it, but it's like I don't know anybody that went to see it
Yeah,
or
it's
that's even seen it at all, like even on streaming or anything.
I hope
So,
because everything's changed recently, I hope Hollywood starts to reflect that, and it's changing a little bit. So I'm a
well, the
little
little house though, I mean, that seems
well,
like
we'll
they
we'll
didn't get the
see.
memo
We'll
on
see. I don't. I'm predicting they're not going to go. I don't think they're going to have a transgender character. I really don't. I'd be shocked. Maybe they will. I don't think they'll do the
that.
homosexuality. They will
Oh
do the
wow.
poor
But
Indian.
they'll
They
have
will do.
everything else
My
now.
predictions. They'll do the poor Indians, victims, and girl boss. They'll do that. I. But you're right. There's no originality. It's like their whole idea is let's do a series or some creative art that was popular. And let's do it again, but make them gay and black. That's all they can think of. That's all they are now, and that's not creative. That's stupid.
It is.
But yeah, I think that will be what they do with it. But yeah, it's that's what they did with Star Wars. They didn't come up with any new stories. The first reboot of Star Wars was the exact copy,
With a
but they
girl
made
instead of a
but they
guy
made it
as
a
Luke.
girl. Yeah, and
Yeah.
she was a girl boss
And the
bullshit.
side characters were way uglier because at least in
Mm-hmm.
the original he had cute side characters like Chewie was cute and
Mm-hmm.
R2D2. They had that weird orange lady. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I didn't.
Some
Yeah,
weird CGI monstrosity that was like one of the kind of side characters. They didn't have anything cute or likable. It was just boring. I remember looking at my watch. That was the last Star Wars movie I saw. And then they
yeah,
made like 5 or 6 more after, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like I saw the ones, I saw the prequels. They were pretty bad. Everybody hated those when they came out, except the last one was pretty good. The one where Anakin turned into Darth
yeah.
Vader. That was fun. And the second was okay, but seeing CGI Yoda kind of ruined it for me. But it wasn't as bad as what they put out now. And a lot of people look back at the prequels and they're like, well, the prequels were pretty good. And it's like, no, I think it's just because the newest ones were such shit that we kind of look back with rose-colored glasses on the last ones. But even those, the first one, the one with Jar Jar, it was like, ugh, this is bad. But I wanted it to get better, so I kept watching them. But now I won't even watch them at all. I don't think Brandon watches them anymore, and he was one of those people that used to watch all the Marvel stuff. And I don't know if he even keeps up with it anymore because we were even talking about the Marvel stuff, how it's the same thing. And now they're just scraping the bottom of the barrel for characters because half these comic book people now I haven't even heard of, and I don't know because they make a lot of money, I guess.
Yeah, you want to read this? You have better eyes
Yeah,
than I do.
not really. Marvel movies, new African American Captain America says Captain America shouldn't represent America. I thought this stuff would stop soon. I saw that. Did you see that, Paul?
Yes, there's
And it's like,
always well. To answer, you say you think it will stop. I think it will, but there's always a delay because how long does it take to get an idea of a movie, get it scripted and product? It's a few
sometimes it
process.
can take years, depending.
Yeah. So that was probably green lighted when there was all this woke bullshit still. I think we'll start to see a little bit of change. We already are.
Well, we've
And
seen quite a few movies, and some of the movies we've seen really weren't woke.
right. And but getting back to this one, yeah, that's crazy because Captain America was all about America. And isn't he a black or something something crazy?
Yeah, and I'm not sure if is he even the real Captain America because I didn't see all the Captain Americas.
I never
I
followed
saw
it,
the
but yeah.
it was pretty good. The first one that came out, I liked it. I don't know. Let me look it up. It wasn't Winter Soldier. That was one of the last Marvel movies I actually saw. Let's see. It wasn't Brave New. That's the one that's coming out now. but it was pretty good. But I heard he was somebody that got turned into Captain America, or he was a sidekick or something. I don't know. The one I saw had the Red Skull in it. I can't find it. I'm trying to find the movies here. But I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Captain America.
Well, they're sabotaging their audience because I would never see it.
Oh, Winter Soldier. I guess that was the one that I saw. That was good.
Yeah, I won't see that. So whenever they do some explicitly anti-white, anti-America, fuck you. I'm not going to watch it.
It's going to fail. I think it'll fail. Just like Snow White.
Yeah.
Everybody can't stand that bitch. And she really just needs to shut the hell up. Same with this guy. It's like, maybe stop having your people go out there and say stupid things and just be quiet and talk about the movie. Don't get out there and try to complain or shit on America, because people don't like that and they're not going to see your movie. And I know Disney has a lot of money, but at the same time, if they keep making these flops and losing money, they're going to have to rethink what they're doing.
You would hope. You would hope.
I would hope. Disney got hijacked. Disney was like my favorite for years. I loved Disney. The movies were really good. The cartoons were good. And then I don't know what the hell happened there. They seem like almost the most woke of all the companies now, like the Black Little Mermaid and the Hispanic, or whatever the hell she is, the Latina Snow White. Snow White should be white. It's in her name.
That was the point.
It's so stupid. And the girl's not even that pretty. Her eyes are like way far apart. She looks like a mosquito head. I don't understand why this bitch is Snow White. You couldn't find an attractive like white woman to play Snow White? No, because it's about politics. And Disney's too white, so we have to brown it up.
Who was that girl on the right? I kind of liked her, but she had that hammerhead look too about her.
Oh, Brittany Venti.
Yeah. She just kind of disappeared, didn't she?
I heard she went off to get a husband. That's what they were saying on Kino Casino, but I don't know if that's true, because they were celebrating Lauren Southern going away and Brittany Venti going away, and PPP was happy that.
Well, the rumor is Lauren Southern had sex with Destiny when she was still.
I don't think it was a rumor.
Was she still married to her?
I don't know. I've heard people say she was already divorced, but I don't know the whole story. I just know they wrote each other letters, and the show.
That's gotta really hurt the sense.
What would she see in him? I don't understand. She's an attractive woman. A lot of guys liked her. Destiny's gross. Have you ever heard the things that he said?
Yeah, we saw him in person. He's a little guy too. He's disgusting.
That picture of him that shows up randomly on X when people are making fun of him with his shirt off, it's gross. He looks like a deformity, and he's an asshole. Like, he's not nice at all. Like, he said the fireman that got shot at the Trump rally deserved it for being at a Trump rally, and if his mother was at the Trump rally and she got shot, she would deserve it. It's like, that's evil and twisted. He gets to go on Piers Morgan and all these big name shows. I don't even know why they put him on their show.
I don't know. He looks like Gollum or something.
He does. He's gross. And he seemed like he was a dick when we met him.
Yeah,
like, we didn't introduce ourselves or anything, but he just sat there looking pissed off the whole time. And it's like, you're paid to be here. Like, you can at least pretend to
I know.
Be not an ass, but the guy's just a gross douchebag, I think.
We saw you going over a couple movies, so let's do that. We always do that on Night Owls. We saw a movie a couple days ago, The Companion, right? Was that called Companion?
Yeah, we saw it yesterday, Companion.
I liked it.
Yes.
It was the idea of having, we won't give too many spoilers, but it was having like a robot girlfriend or something. I thought it was entertaining, and the actress, I thought she was a white girl, and I guess the only woke thing they had on it is that one guy was gay, and I won't spoil too much, but
it was kind of funny though. I don't know. I didn't really care, because it made sense. It wasn't bad. If you find out later in the movie, like why he was with this other guy. I was thinking, why? Because the guy's like this fat kind of. I don't know what he was, like, Hispanic or something. He's Mexican, and he had this boyfriend. But it was fun. It was kind of funny though. But it was a good movie. It was it wasn't your typical kind of movie, horror movie.
It has some humor in it too.
Yeah, it was almost like a horror comedy or something.
Yeah, I really did enjoy it, and
it was made by New Line, and they're the people that made Scream.
Mm-hmm.
And the Elm Street movies.
Well,
they usually make pretty good movies. like
Yeah,
in the
so if you
horror
like that
genre.
type, yeah, it
But the
wasn't.
horror genre, you're talking about the two gay guys. It seems like there's a lot of gay people in horror movies, though. I've noticed this because
Yeah.
I think a lot of the writers are gay,
Hmm.
or directors. Like the guy that wrote Chucky, I believe, was gay. I think it was the writer, not the director. So now there's some of that in the Chucky show. And then I'm listening to a Clive Barker book, and I looked him up because he kind of disappeared, or I hadn't seen him write anything in a while. Man, he looks rough. And people online were speculating he's got AIDS because he had a boyfriend that sued him because he said he gave him HIV. And I was like, man, because he looks bad. I feel bad for the guy, but it's like, man, maybe other guy's boyfriend said he had a pretty hedonistic lifestyle.
Hmm.
Like he did a lot of drugs, but I mean, that's just what that guy said. And who knows, maybe he just wanted money. But you look at him and you're just like, yikes. Because I
Yeah.
was telling Paul that I don't really know a lot of new horror books that come out. I know they exist, but how do you even know to find them? Because they don't have covers to really let you know, like, this is a horror. Like, whereas in the old days, you kind of know there'd be a skull on the cover or something would go, oh, this looks scary. Now I have no idea. Some guy on YouTube did a video about that, how they kind of changed it. I think it's because they don't want to pay for artists, but now with AI, it seems like you could just have AI do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I agree with that. And it's a fun movie. I give it my 5 star, where 5 is the best. I give it a 4 star. I enjoyed it. I
Yeah, I would
was
probably
never
give it
bored.
4 star too.
And the movie we saw previous to that, it got a lot of bad reviews. I think it's because of the director, Mel Gibson. It was Flight Plan,
Yeah,
and
I thought Flight Plan was good.
it didn't deserve, in my opinion, the horrible reviews. A lot of that
No.
was just political because they hate him for political
Well, a
reasons.
lot of the reviews said that. They
Yeah,
kind of basically said we don't like your politics, so we're going to give this a bad review because you shouldn't look at people's politics. You should just look at the movie itself. But these
exactly.
people are incapable of doing that because if you don't agree with me, then we have to ruin you. And I
You
mean,
know,
that's how a lot of these people are.
it was a kind of it wasn't one of his epic movies like Braveheart or Apocalypto or anything like that. It was just kind of an old school. And 90% of the movie just took place in the plane, and
Yeah.
it was just a thriller that I thought did okay. I on a scale of 1 to 5, I would rate it a 3, meaning I'm going to watch it again, but one time, it's one of those things. If you want to go to the movie, it's a popcorn movie, right? Get some
Right.
popcorn, watch a fun movie. Uh, it was, it was just fun. It
I
was,
enjoyed it. I wasn't
yeah.
bored.
No,
It was
I've
one of
seen,
those
yeah,
movies where you wanted to know what was going to happen.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it
I
had some
kept,
violence in it that was nice. And I don't know. I like the actors in it. It had Mark Wahlberg and it had the chick from Downton Abbey.
Mhm.
Though I can't remember, never remember her name. Michelle Dockery, I think that's her name. She was the girl in it. I don't
Yeah,
know. I thought it was good for what it was.
yeah, the critics really panned it, but I think that's political.
It's
It
because it's
wasn't
Mel Gibson.
right.
Because you
It
can
was
see some of the movies that get good reviews, and you're like, why did they get a good review? Like that Emily Perez movie, they're saying is going to take home the Oscars this
the
year, and it's a
transgender
musical.
one or
Yeah,
whatever.
and
Yeah,
nobody likes it. If you look at the critics versus the audience gave it like 25%, and the critics love it. And it has nothing to do with being a good movie because it looks like a shit movie, and it probably is, but it's because it's political. That's why.
right. Yeah, it's sort of like a uh what was I saying? I forget my train of thought here.
Politics.
Uh,
Um,
yeah,
I don't
Uh,
remember.
my brain just got derailed. I was looking at something else and I got derailed on that. But yeah, it was just a fun movie. It wasn't super. Oh, what I was going to say, and another example of like if you have a Holocaust movie, which they come out usually one a year, the critics I think are scared to do anything but give it a great review, no matter how shitty it is. It's just
Well, there's
it.
that movie, The Brutalist, that's out now. And it's
Mhm.
one of those movies where the guy, it's not a Holocaust movie, but it's like Holocaust adjacent. Where
Yeah,
this guy comes, I think, to America from there. Like
yeah,
he survived and he comes to America and he becomes an architect. And it's kind of like, oh, they don't want us immigrants here. And it's getting really good reviews. And we saw the trailer for it like last year.
Oh, I hate
And
it. Yeah,
I said, this is propaganda.
it
And I
is.
saw other people said it too, that it was like Zionist propaganda. But I don't know. Maybe it's not, but it looked like it to me because it's another one of these. Oh, America sucks.
Yeah,
Like
we
we
need to
come
be in
to
your
America, and they
country.
don't want us here, and it's like, yeah,
Yeah,
because you come over here and you complain and you
yeah,
shit on us. That's why we don't want you here.
yeah. That looked bad, and that was an example. But if you're a critic and you want to be connected, you dare not oppose those movies because you could lose everything. So out of
Right?
fear, and so like if you do a Holocaust movie, you could do a Holocaust movie where they just show a pile of shit for 90 minutes, literally. You'd have to say it's brilliant and give it 5 stars. This is the way
Yeah.
it is. So you do get so that's the problem with you see this even in it happened in computer games with Gamergate, although that was a little bit different. She got a good review because she gave the guy some blowjobs to get a good review. And but it's you still see that politics in game reviews, where you see the divergence where the critics love it because it has transgender black characters, but the players hate it and it dies. So you see that in movies too. Oh, we got another one. Could you read this from 009? Thank you, 009.
Yes, thank you. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do. Octavius music is everything. Number 9, Georgi Ivanovic. I don't know. I can't pronounce this guy's name. Feel whatever, understand the music and dance.
Yeah, Sacha always liked theater and music and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I was a drama dork in high school. It was funny because they were talking on
that's
Kino
how
Casino.
you,
They went to some movie and there was all these people talking because it was like a drama. What do they
yeah,
call it? The theater kids were there, like injecting
yeah,
themselves. And I thought, now that's considered the cringiest thing if you were like a drama kid in school. But
theater
it's like
kids.
I was
Yeah,
one of those theater kids too.
yeah.
I was in theater in high
Is
school.
that I never took choir, but is that how you do the
I was in
scale?
choir too.
Is that do re mi fa sol la ti da? Is that how you do the
Yeah,
scale? Yeah.
right.
Do re mi
I didn't like
fa
choir
sol
really.
la
I didn't have a
ti
choice. Like I
do.
was put in there because I had to pick an elective. I like
Wasn't that
drama.
a movie from where was it? Do a deer, a
Oh,
female deer.
Sound of Music,
Was
right?
that where it came
I
from?
think so.
Julia Andrews was her name?
Julie Andrews, yeah. I like
Yeah.
Julie Andrews.
Yeah, yeah. So that was
She's
a
still
thing.
alive.
Wow, I thought she'd be dead by now.
She is 90 because I looked that up because somebody said she died and then I looked it up. Yeah, she's still alive. She's 89.
Does she
She
have an
was born,
OnlyFans or is she
no, she was born in 1935.
she'd be a kills KILF.
What's a kill?
Corpses I like to never mind. So
Oh,
uh so that yeah. Yeah. Sasha, it's been a fun show, don't you think so?
Well, are you ready to close up shop now?
That's all I have. Do you have anything
You
else
getting
or
tired?
no, that's just it's a
No, I
good
can't
show.
remember what we were talking about before the super chat. What were we talking about? We're
We
talking
were
about the
talking
Mel
about
Gibson
Flight
movie and
Plan and Mel Gibson and how shitty movies. There's certain political movies. Like if you had a movie, a biopic about a gay man dying of AIDS and being chased by the Ku Klux Klan, you'd have the critics would have to give it 5 stars no matter
they
what, right?
would.
I mean, yeah, yeah. So that's
I want to see
Now,
Hard Eyes. That looks pretty good.
but I'm
That's
saying I think the whole critic industry is kind of disappearing because of X and social media because you have just normal people that review games. So you don't need the professional critics anymore. I
right.
don't think they have the influence. Like when I was a kid, you had Gene and Raj, Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert, and they would review the movies. They had a lot of influence. But
They
now,
didn't have good taste. They always hated everything I liked.
yeah, but that
It
now
seemed
that
like Cisco and
they were a
Ebert.
little pretentious, yeah.
They were.
But now, just that average people can review movies. So that's it's more democratic that their monopoly has been broken, like it's
I like
happened in the news.
the two black gay guys on In Living Color that would review movies. Remember
Yeah,
that?
that
That was
was
kind of
fun.
a parody
Yeah,
of that. And they're like, Pretty Woman, hated it. Like anything
yeah,
that had woman in the title that they didn't like, or anything that was an action movie,
yeah.
like with Arnold Schwarzenegger or something, they would like it. It was always pretty funny. Still Magnolias hated it. Who wants to watch a bunch of old hags in a movie? Oh, that Emily Perez, I looked it up, 73% ripe tomato. Okay, that's
uh,
the audience score. Guess how much the people like this movie?
How much?
18%.
Wow.
And this is a
Yeah.
Best Picture nomination. Like it's up, and
Yeah.
it might win. It beat Wicked, I believe, in the Golden Globes for Best Musical. And it's like everybody liked Wicked. Like I haven't met anybody that saw Wicked that didn't enjoy it. And it had good songs. And like some of the songs that got stuck in my head, even though I
What's
didn't know the
Emily
song.
Perez about some transgender thing?
Let's see, it's about from Renegade Otter, Jock something, kind of audacious, fever dream, blah blah blah. Okay, well, what the hell is it about? Through liberating song and dance and bold visuals, the Odyssey follows the journey of four remarkable women in Mexico, each pursuing their own happiness. The fearsome cartel leader Amelia enlists Rita, an unappreciated lawyer stuck in a dead-end job, to help fake her death so that Amelia can finally live authentically as her true self. So that's a man was nominated as a woman.
Yeah,
one of
so
the best actors.
a man is
A man stole a spot in the Best Actress category from a woman. So a woman could have been in there, like Pamela Anderson for that last Showgirl movie, but she didn't get to be in because they had to virtue signal and put a guy in there. Like, look, he's really a woman.
Yeah, they need to shut that down. Trump needs to shut that down.
How much do you want to bet this will be like the lowest rated Academy Awards? Because every year it's lower than before.
Yeah, yeah.
And when they do shit like that, people aren't going to go. And like you said, people are tired of this shit.
Yeah, definitely.
I think they kind of pushed their hand with the transgender kids and all that stuff, and beating the hell out of women in sporting events is not something average Americans want to see. Saying, "Oh, but they're both women," and then this guy just almost murders some woman in a ring. You know, people aren't really interested in that.
Yeah, that should be interesting.
Yeah, like that Wing IT's and he said, "That's a man, baby," like from Austin Powers. Do you remember that there was that ugly woman?
Yeah.
You remember Austin Powers?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
And he takes that ugly woman. He's like, "This is like a man." It was actually a woman.
He couldn't do that anymore, yeah.
That movie was funny. I liked the first Austin Powers.
I know.
Did you like that movie?
Yeah, I did. It was funny.
My favorite part of that movie was when he had to try to catch up on what was going on since he was frozen in time. And he found out like all these people he liked died, like Jim Morrison dead, overdose, Janis Joplin dead, overdose, Jimi Hendrix dead, overdose, and then it was like Mama Cass dead, ham sandwich. Do you remember that?
Yes. Yeah. I remember that one of those where the evil guy that was trying to take over the world, he wanted $1 million.
Yeah. It is kitty.
That was pretty good. There were some good ones there.
I didn't think the sequels were very good. At least the second one wasn't very good, but the first one was funny. I remember my friends. I had these like older women friends, and they were like boomer age, quite a bit older than me. And they took me out to the movies for my birthday. I turned 18 when that movie came out, and they were like, "What movie do you want to go see?" And I was like, "Austin Powers." And they're, "Are you sure that's what you really want to see?" Like they didn't want to see it.
We should see the English Patient. Yeah, English Patient.
Oh, they actually liked Austin Powers after we saw it. They laughed. So we picked good. Well, I remember there's another time, I guess it was my 19th birthday, me and Moscow went out and he wanted to see Deep Impact. You remember that movie about the meteor that hit Earth? Or was going to hit Earth? And he was like, I wanted to see Polly, that movie about the parrot that got lost from its owner. And Moscow's like, well, I'll buy your ticket if we can go see Deep Impact. And so we went to see that, and I really didn't like it. And then I saw Polly later in the summer at the Dollar Theater in Florida. I took my little cousins to see it, and we all loved it.
Cool. All right. Well, tomorrow I have the Ramsey Paul show at 11. I'm excited to get back to that. We got a lot of stuff to cover. A lot of stuff happened over the weekend. We'll see how the markets are going to react to all the tariffs. It's going to be crazy time. A lot of stuff happening. And any final thoughts? Sacha, we got to do this more. We really do. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we should. It's just been hard because I'm still
trying
to get all this stuff done, and I don't have a ton of free time. So
I know. So
if you were up later at night, we could do it late at night, but then you don't get that many people to watch either when we do it really late. So we might have to go back to Sundays, but then I don't really want to do it on Sunday because if I want to go to the movies on Sunday,
we can always play by ear.
Because sometimes I go to those Phantom events, but they haven't really been any. We're going to go see Hellraiser on Wednesday, but that's the only one. I saw Goonies a couple weeks ago with Brandon.
All right,
It's
guys.
usually, they're usually on Sundays, so that's why Sundays can be a problem.
So I'll see you
But we'll
guys
figure
tomorrow.
it out.
All right, guys.
All right,
Talk to you
bye.
guys later. Bye.